family and friends and people of the YouTube verse. So this class is going to be a slower, more restorative class, super great for the evenings when you're winding down for sleep, or even in the mornings if you just want to have a super chill, relaxing day. So we will need some props for today. I recommend having 2 blocks. Cork or foam blocks can work, and if you don't have blocks, we can work with pillows. Books can work, even like soup cans can work for certain things. Not if you're like leaning on it, but if you need it under your hands, blocks, soup cans can work. A bolster, and if you don't have a bolster, pillow. Like a pillow you sleep on is totally fine. Maybe even 2 if you have pillows that are kind of thin. And then a blanket, folded up in this kind of way so it can give you some height when you need to lay on it. Okay, we're going to start actually with our blocks. I'll just move this off over here. So we're going to start with the heart opener, a restorative heart opener with the blocks. And if you don't have blocks, you can just do this on a pillow. Books and soup cans wouldn't work for this because you're leaning on it, and that's not going to be very comfortable for your body. Maybe some books could work. But you want to have the blocks positioned like this. So one's going to be at the medium level long ways, and this is where your spine's going to go, your upper spine, and then one would be tall for your head. So I'll show you, you want the base of this block here to kind of be, for women, like right where your bra strap is. For men, just right in the middle of your spine, right below the shoulder blades, kind of. And you might have to adjust it for you. It could be different for you. So it kind of lays right along the middle of the upper back here. And then again, this one is just going to be right under the occiput, right under the head. So the head's a little bit higher than the heart, just a little bit. So here there's options for the legs. Sometimes I really like to keep my knees bent and just TP them in towards each other, or you can extend the legs here. So find whatever leg position works for you and just start to settle in to this back bend. And if you're not on blocks, again, we want a restorative back bend, a restorative heart opener. So having something under the middle of the body and the back to open up the chest and the heart, and that you can relax into reasonably so for a couple of minutes. So once you find yourself in a comfortable position, let the eyes close here. And since we're moving into this heart space, just notice any sensations around the heart, maybe the back of the heart or the front of the heart. And breathe into those sensations. Breathe into this space that we've created in the front of our body. This is a great restorative pose to counterpose any of the forward work that we do, whether it be yard work or sewing or computer work, sitting at a desk, reading, cooking. All of that is forward in front of us. So leaning back into a restorative heart opener really helps to counterpose any of the hunching that we might do during the day. Let the belly and the face relax. Notice what you feel and feel what you notice. We'll spend another 4 or 5 breaths here. Let the shoulders soften. And then slowly, in order to get out of this posture, if you're on the blocks, I use my left elbow and I roll over to rest my head on my hands. I kind of prop myself up here, rolling off the blocks and then moving the blocks out of the way with your hand, both hands. And then coming to lay flat here, just let the blocks come off to the sides. Knees can stay bent or whatever position they were in, and just notice any difference. Notice any lightness in the heart and the chest as we lay here. And then just heel toe your feet so they're out towards the edges of your mat. You can feel them at the edge, and just windshield wiper really slowly side to side the feet or the knees. You can feel the sacrum rolling against the floor, the hips, the glutes getting a soft massage here. And then the knees can come back up to center. Heel toe the feet so they're back to hip distance, and just hug the knees into your chest here. And then if accessible to you, coming into a happy baby pose, grabbing the inside or outer edges of your feet. The knees come out towards the sides of your ribs, and the feet, sole of the feet faces up towards the ceiling. And you want to make sure you're not curling the sacrum off of the mat at all as you're in this, so really grounding through the sacrum and moving from there. And if you'd like to straighten one leg and then the other, or both, or just straighten slightly, it's up to you. Finding some movement here. Nothing crazy. Every inhale we nourish. Every exhale we let go. Let's slowly let the feet drop back down towards the mat. Knees are still bent here. And then just extend the right leg up towards the sky, grabbing back behind the right hamstring here. Maybe it's the sides of the legs, or if there's a little more room for maybe the calf, feel free to grab that on the right leg. And just pointing and flexing through the right foot. Ankle circles on the right foot. Switching directions. And then finding some stillness here as we breathe into the back of that right leg. If you have a strap, I should have told you in the beginning, if you have a strap, you can totally use that here, but again, you can feel free to just hold the leg here as well. And then slowly return the right leg down, bending through that right knee, placing the foot on the ground, and then extend the left leg up towards the sky. Again, grabbing back behind the left hamstring or the left calf. For a hamstring stretch on the left side, point and flex through the left foot nice and slowly. And ankle circles on the left foot. Reverse directions. And then find some stillness and breathe here. Letting the shoulders soften down towards the mat. Letting the face and the jaw relax. Next exhale, slowly release the left leg alongside the right leg and just roll over to your right or left side, pausing here. And then make your way up towards hands and knees, taking your blocks to frame the front of your mat as well. So blocks are just right in front of the mat or soup cans. Coming to hands and knees, we'll just move through cat and cow here. So as you inhale, the belly drops, the heart comes through the arms. As you exhale, you tuck the pelvis, navel to spine, chin to chest. Inhale, tip the pelvis forward, the belly drops, the heart comes through the arms. Exhale to round. So a couple of these at your own pace. With your breath, finding that fluid wave-like motion through the spine. One more round. And then finding some neutrality in the spine. We're going to stretch our wrists a little bit here since a lot of us might do office work. So as you inhale, you're lifting, you're grounding through the knuckle mound, this knuckle mound here on the hand. And you lift the heel of the hand up. So the fingertips stay grounded. Fingertips might crack. They may not come up super high either. Maybe it's here. That's fine. But moving through this as you inhale up, exhale to lower the heel of the hand down. Stretching through the fingers, the palm of the hand. Maybe one or two more. And then let the wrist settle down. We're going to take our thumbs to the outside of our mat. So we're rotating our fingertips so they face our knees. You might get a full rotation or a half rotation. Just notice here before you do any kind of movement what sensation is coming up in the forearms. If it's super intense, stay here. If you'd like a little more stretch, you start to lean back slightly. As you lean back, the heel of the hands can lift up. Sometimes I like to rock my hips side to side as if I'm drawing a U with my hips. And then coming back up to center, as you flip your hands around, come back to just fingertips for a moment. And then take a moment to open and close each hand a couple times. We're going to do another wrist stretch here, and this one helps if you're on a wood floor underneath your mat. You might want a blanket or like your shirt or something underneath that. And I'll show you guys just facing forward. So what you're going to do is you're going to flip your hands around so the top of your hand is on the mat and your middle fingers are coming to touch. And you really want to spread the hands nice and wide. Your elbows actually rotate forward. Your elbow pits rotate forward and your shoulders down your back. So as you inhale, you spread the fingertips nice and wide, and as you exhale, you make a fist. And it will feel super weird. Inhale to open, exhale to make a fist. And just a couple of these at your own pace with your breath. When I first did these, I could barely make a fist, and now as I've done them more and more, I can almost make a full fist. And then flipping the hands back around again, come to fingertips for a moment, and then take some time to open and close each hand, and then the other hand. Awesome. So we're coming back to our hands and knees, tabletop position. Maybe our hands are on blocks here. This might help us to get our foot forward. We're going to extend through that right leg and just rock back and forth on the right foot to open up the right calf. And then inhale. Exhale, we're going to bring the right foot forward in between our hands, our blocks. You might have to walk the left knee back a little bit. We're coming into a low lunge, and again, we want the hands on blocks here if you have them. They can also be in their higher setting, and using these blocks to open the heart up and support us as we move deeper into our lunge. So we're breathing into the front of the left hip. Next, exhale. We're going to transition, press into your blocks. You start to straighten your right leg. You're onto your heel of your right foot. And we're in like a half split right now. So either with the blocks and we're staying up nice and tall because we feel this hamstring stretch a lot, or we start to fold in to the right leg. We reach to the inside edge of our right foot. Let the head relax. One more breath in. Exhale, coming back to our lunge using the blocks, and then step your way back to your knees. Extending that left leg back behind you and just straightening, rocking back and forth into the left calf. And then inhale to lift the left leg. Exhale, step the left foot forward in between the hands. Again, we're coming to our lunge. However you need to help that left foot forward, feel free to take your time. And then breathing into the front of the right hip here. Keeping the face and the shoulders soft and relaxed. The blocks are still there as supports, but we're not using and hiking our shoulders up towards our ears. And then slowly we're transitioning back to our runner's lunge or half split. So you start to straighten the leg as the hips lift back. And you roll to the heel of that left foot. Walk the blocks back, or your soup cans or books. And we're bringing that left hip back in space and the right hip forward. It's almost as if we want to drag that left heel backwards. If you feel enough of a stretch here, you can stay, or you start to fold forward, leading with the heart always. If you find yourself rounding as you fold forward, you're actually coming out of the stretch a little bit. So make sure you lift forward with the chest and you're hinging at the hips if you start to fold. Reach through the inner edge of the left foot for 2 more. And then inhale, come back forward, walk the blocks back. Step your way back to hands and knees. Taking the blocks to the outside and the hands back down to your mat. You're going to sit into Balasana, child's pose. So the toes come together and the knees spread wide. And as wide as you'd like, or as close together as you like, it's up to you here. Let the head come down towards the mat. If it doesn't come all the way down to the mat, have a blocker blanket underneath and the arms reach forward. Letting the hips sink deeper here as you breathe. And then come onto your fingertips. The head can come off the mat, and you're going to spider your fingertips over to the right.
So as you do so, you're stretching through the left side body. So breathe there. Reaching back through the left hip. And then spider the fingertips back over to the left now, stretching through the right side body. Draw back through that right hip and breathe. Remembering to breathe, it's what keeps us safe in all of these movements and stretches. The breath is the most important part. Inhale, coming back up to center. Exhale to release here. And then inhale, coming back to hands and knees. From hands and knees, again, the hands are right under the shoulders, knees under the hips. We're going to take our right toes and kickstand them out to the right. So they kind of come out to the right side of your mat. You're going to extend your left leg back behind you. Your left heel is in line with your right knee. And then you inhale the left arm alongside your ear. And it's the same arm position as in side angle pose. So your left palm faces behind you and your pinky faces towards the mat. And then again, we're breathing into the left side body. You can let the head hang here. One more inhale. Exhale, the left hand, left knee, come down. We switch sides. So now the left toes kickstand out to the left. Extend the right leg back behind you. Inhale, the right arm up over your ear. Again, that right palm faces behind you and the pinky edge rotates down. Breathe into your right side body. Next, exhale, coming down out of this position. We're going to find our way to a comfortable seat. And taking something under the hips, I like to have a block under the hips or even a block and a blanket or a bolster or pillow, something to just lift you up. I'm going to sit in Virasana, which is hero's pose. You can sit in an easy seat. An easy seat, the block would just be under your hips. And you're kind of in a cross-legged position. You let your hips spill forward. For Virasana, hero's pose, you're sitting onto your calves. So your knees are going to be forward of your props. You take your thumbs back behind the knees, move the calves out of the way as you come to sit back onto your props. And shifting forward a little bit, you want the block right under the hips, not under the knees. So finding yourself in your hero's pose, we're going to stretch your neck a little bit here. Interlace your fingers and take them back behind your head, like right behind the occiput, which is where the neck meets the skull. You're going to drop your shoulders. As you inhale, lean the head back into the hands and just open the elbows a little bit. We're keeping our lower belly stable, so we're not arching through the low back at all. The low back stays nice and stable. It's just in the upper back here. Inhaling. As we exhale, we come forward and we just let the chin drop towards the chest and the elbows come together. We're not pulling on the head at all. Inhale, we come back. Exhale, we round. And again, feel free to stay in one of these for a moment or a couple breaths. And just move through them slowly if you are moving through them with your breath. Maybe one or two more rounds.
And then coming back to center, letting the arms drop here. We're going to interlace our fingers back behind our back. Straighten the arms here and just open through the chest. And then you're going to bend through your elbows when they're back behind you. And you're going to bring the outside of your left hand to the outside of your right hip. If you can. You can hook it. Otherwise, it's just back behind you, moving towards that side. If you can hook it fully, you want to make sure you're not chicken winging out through that right arm. So draw it into the midline. Shoulders are dropped here. Gaze straight forward, and then drop your right ear towards your right shoulder. So the head moves to the same side as the hands on the hips. So you should feel a stretch to the opposite side of the neck, the left side of the neck, the top of the left shoulder. And just breathe into that here. If you'd like, you have to move with intention, but maybe you slowly rock the chin up and down with your breath. And then letting the head come to stillness, unclasp the hands, and then just use your right hand. Inhale the head back to center. Exhale, the arms come forward for a moment here. Full breath in and out. And then you're going to interlace the hands back behind you again, but have the opposite index finger on top. So whichever one feels really strange for your hands, do that. Again, you're going to straighten the arms back behind you. Inhale. And then bend the elbows and bring the outside of your right hand to the outside of your left hip. So again, we're hooking around the hip. If you get a full hook, awesome. If not, no worries. You want to make sure you don't chicken wing out through that left arm, so draw it back in space. And then the shoulders drop here. The gaze is straight forward, and we drop left ear to left shoulder. So again, the head is going to the same side as the hands. Sitting up nice and tall, there's no collapsing in the lumbar spine, and we breathe into the right side of our neck, right shoulder. Let the eyes settle if you'd like. And then if you'd like, moving with intention, maybe there's just a rock of the chin up and down with your breath. Make sure to breathe fluidly, being gentle with ourselves for this practice. And let the head come back to neutral. Unclasp the hands. Use the left hand. Inhale the head back up to center. Exhale, both hands come forward. Full breath in and out. Awesome. You're going to come out of your seated position. If you're in Virasana, just come to your hands and knees. And take whatever props were underneath you just out to the side for a moment. From hands and knees, we're going to lower all the way onto our belly. So letting the head rest to one side here for a moment. Big breaths into the backside body. And then you're going to come up to just like a little bit of a back lift here. I need to move more of these props for a second. Oh, it's 11:11. And you're going to take your right hand and you're kind of
drawing it to the top left corner of your mat. So it's kind of right in line with that. You should only be like, your head would basically be, if you put it down like right at the top of your mat. And then your left arm is going to cross on top of the right arm, and again it's going to come to the right corner of your mat. So your arms are crossed right in front of you, and you're just going to let your chin or your head come down here and breathe into whatever sensations you feel. Feel what you notice and notice what you feel as you breathe here. Let the head relax, let the shoulders soften. You should feel it most in the right arm, the outside of the right, like upper shoulder, tricep, into the back maybe. And then slowly you're going to unthread. So you inhale to lift the head and the torso up, unthread that left arm, unthread the right arm. You switch sides now. So now the left arm first is crossing over again to the right corner of the mat. The right arm crosses on top of the left arm to the left corner of the mat. And then again, bring the head and the chin back down. Feel what you notice. Breathe into the sensations. Slowly come out, inhaling to lift the torso, the right arm and then the left arm, and then press yourself back to hands and knees. So we're going to come to pigeon pose. We're going to start with the right leg. This can be a restorative pigeon pose or not, it's up to you, but keep your blanket and block and even the pillow nearby. So from hands and knees, you're going to bring your right knee back behind your right wrist, and your right foot kind of comes right in front of the left hip. So you start to move that left knee back in space. We're in our pigeon pose. If you feel yourself falling over into the right side, getting a blocker, a blanket, or a pillow underneath that right hip will serve you. And then we're going to start to move forward. If you'd like to make this more restorative, having that pillow or the bolster in front of you, and just coming to lean over that, maybe letting the forehead rest on the hands here. And letting the body soften and relax with every exhale. If you'd like to stay in these stretches any longer, feel free to pause the video and spend your time restoring. And then when you're ready, slowly start to make your way out of this pigeon, moving that pillow just off to the side, planting the hands, and coming back to hands and knees. You can stretch back through that right leg if you'd like. And we're going to come to the left side now. So the left knee comes behind the left wrist and the left foot to the front of that right hip, and then you slide your right knee back in space. Again, if you need something under this left hip, feel free. If you feel like you're falling over to the left side, get something under there to help bring you up. And bring the floor to meet you. And then again, bringing your pillow right under the belly as you start to fold forward over the left leg. Let the head come to rest in something, maybe it's stacked hands or a block or the floor. And then start to settle into this pigeon here. Again, if you'd like to stay longer, feel free to pause this video. Or we'll just be here for a minute or two. Being gentle with the breath, with the mind. Slowly, when you're ready, starting to work your way back up, out of this pigeon, moving that bolster pillow off to the side, coming back to your hands and knees, and just stretching back through that left leg maybe. We're going to move into our restorative Shavasana. So, there's a couple options here, but I recommend having your your pillow underneath your back, and then your folded up blanket will be underneath your head just to lift the head fully. This is one option. You can just stay here, or if you have your blocks or pillows actually work great for this as well. Let me grab two. So if you want to use your blocks, we're coming to a restorative Supta Baddha Konasana. So you want to sit your sacrum right against the bolster or your stacked pillows, and then your feet would come together to kiss in like a butterfly position, and the blocks would come under your knees. And you want to make sure there's no initial stretch in this restorative version. I like to put the blocks at an angle, so the flat side of the block kind of hugs right under my knees, and you move them down the legs as much as you need to get as much lift. You have your pillows, same kind of idea, just tuck the pillows underneath the legs. Blocks give a little bit more support, which is nice. So you're here in this restorative position and with the legs, and then you fold over. So now the upper body, the upper back is resting on this bolster. So it's a whole heart opener, front body opener, hip opener as well. The blanket's right under the head. The edges of the blanket are touching the shoulders here. And the arms are out towards the sides, palms face up. When you've found your settle, your seat, your position here, just let everything release into the support. Let the front of the hips soften, let the feet relax. The belly releases. The hands starting from the center of the palms. Relax.
The jaw gets heavy, the cheeks get heavy, the tongue floats loosely in the mouth. Let the eyes sink into their sockets here as we release into this Shavasana. Feel free to stay here as long as you choose. If you're ready to come out, slowly moving props and rolling to one side. And coming up to sit. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Namaste.